Welcome everyone. Welcome. This is Mike. It is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's time for our Sweet Dash Q&A webinar. I hope everyone's doing well. Let's start off by having everyone jump into the chat, say hi, let me know where you're from, maybe your business niche, and that'll let me know that you can indeed chat. And I did forget to open it up to I did remember to open it up to everyone. Hi, Camicia from Italy, Seattle. There, it's working. Milano. Hey, big win. Big win the other day. AC Milan beat Juventus. Pretty nice. Inter is one going to win the league. I don't know if you are you Inter. Yeah, okay. So you win the league. What do you then you go to Champions League, so you're doing pretty good over there. Nice season for sure for Inter. Very nice, very nice. Yes, ma'am. Camicia, I'm aware. I'm a fan. Nice job. We have a very, very authentic Italian or a pizza place locally, and they're huge Inter fans. So we occasionally I go there and get some pizza and talk about football. Yeah. So it's nice. All right, good. Hi, nice to see you, Second Nature. Safety. We are recording the meeting. Typically, these will end up on YouTube, unless there's some horrific explosion or gaffe of some sort. No, we usually are putting these on YouTube now so that everyone can have the advantage. Luckily, you guys are here and you get to control the narrative a little bit with your questions. And so good. Thank you for being here. I think we'll have some more people show up here in just a little while, so we'll have a nice full house. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I know all of you can. I think you can see my screen. We're looking at the Sweet Dash website here. Just to say that if you don't have a free trial yet, I would encourage you to just go ahead and do that. There's no risk there. We don't ask for a credit card. It just gives you a chance to look at the software and start your evaluation. As you're doing that, the documentation is your best place to get started. This is an always growing and really updated every single day, right? Oh, thank you, Shamika. I can take a compliment any day of the week. All right. So yeah, this is our website is evolving. We decided not to do it all in one go, so you'll see that it's changing a little bit at a time with some new graphics, and this is the newest thing that was added over the weekend. So now you can see, depending on how big your team is, how much money you can save every month. So you can either pay $4,656 a month, or you can pay $99 a month. I'm going to gamble that I know where you would fall on that decision, but yes. So these are just some additions that we've been making. And I think they turned out well. So thank you very much, Shamika. That's nice to hear. Yes, so the documentation is updated constantly. The community is now open to everyone, even free trials, even people who don't have accounts. All you have to do is come here and click sign up. You can sign up for the community. This is a separate login from your Sweet Dash login for security reasons. So yes, you will need a unique username and password. When you're inside, it looks much like this. We post here on a regular basis, usually about every 2 weeks, a new what we call Fresh on Live, which is the most recent features and improvements that have been delivered into the system into production. So that's a nice way. This is the first place that we announce those things. So that's one advantage of being here. The other is, of course, there are groups that fit different niches and members in those groups, and there's discussions happening here that will help you not reinvent the wheel in many cases, I think. So some pretty rich discussions happening here, and our team is fairly active there as well. And Sweet Dash Academy, this is where videos, this is our video library essentially. Any videos that are created, we're also posting them here in addition to the YouTube channel. So this one was just posted 2 days ago, a week ago. So there's a pretty constant feed of videos. I would definitely suggest that you subscribe and hit that little bell, and you'll be notified every time there's a new video. And they are these videos are in depth. Okay, these are not just little quick walkthroughs. This one, in fact, is 41 minutes long, and it's broken down step by step by step as you go through, even to the point of showing you let's see if we can watch a minute here. Well, YouTube is slow today, but what it's going to show you is this. So this is a workflow that's outlined in that video, and I will actually drop the link into the chat. It's a public link, so you guys can go there and have a look. The video is embedded and linked there. Yes, so this is something that you guys can look at. You can just stare at, think about how you can adapt to your use case, watch the video over and over. And this was designed, it's quite simple actually what it does. It just moves someone through 3 circle progression, and but the power is that each one of these changes, these circle change we call it here, but not only could you achieve that, but you could achieve any number of our trigger action automations using this framework as a base, and implementing things like email marketing lists, project creation, invoice creation, contract, all that. So I think this is a really helpful way to look at a workflow and watch it being built and start to get an idea of how you might be able to adapt that. And that leads into the reason we're here, which is SweetDash is a very powerful piece of software that you can adapt to your particular use case. It's generic in that way, so you can adapt it if you have a dog walking business or a coaching business or a landscaping business, accounting. There's no end to the number of niches that we're serving, so it's very adaptable. But the downside of that is there's not a very standard step 1, step 2, step 3 that works for everyone. And so we try to address that by providing as many educational resources as possible, and video walkthroughs, and also this webinar, which we're here almost every week to provide a place for you to shoot your questions, and we'll try to address every single one. And we're not able to go into detailed walkthroughs. Even as you see, this video took 41 minutes, and that's production time. There's probably 20 or 30 hours of work in this video putting it together and producing it. So we can't really do that live here in 60 minutes, but we can try to get you over your conceptual hurdles. Hilton asks, do we have ready-made templates? Yes, we do, Hilton. We have a template library. But also, one of the places we are starting some planning that will take this a step further is that we will be able to provide you with a template that would load basically this exact funnel in your account. Okay? And what do I mean by that? I'll take a few minutes here since I don't see a ton of questions. What I mean is we would write a script. It's a script, essentially. It wouldn't be something that you could build and then save. It will be a script from our side where we'll say, okay, let's take this funnel. And when you decide to load that script in your account, we will build in your account an intake form that will be predefined, preset. We will add these circles. We will basically follow in about 0.2 of a second in the back in the database. We'll follow the order of this video. We'll create the circles first, then we'll go in, we'll create the portal pages. We'll make the associations for step 1, set this portal page to the start page for this circle funnel, step 1. Then we'll create the intake forms, we'll create the update forms, and we'll do all this. And so essentially it's just a lot of entries into the database, predefined, tested, and then we'll make sure that we don't, if you somehow have a circle already called SEO funnel step 1, we'll make sure there's no duplicates. And in that moment, as soon as you load that, this funnel will be functional and active in your account. At which time you can just start with the intake form. You can go through and maybe rename a few things, rename a circle, or rename some items, some very light dressing of this thing, and then you can deploy it and make it work for you. And then you would essentially be changing the content on the portal pages or the fields in the form. Yes, you would add more fields, more questions that fit your use case, but in general, it would already be wired up for you, right? And this is just a simple example, but once we start building those and have a framework to build them by, it's essentially just defining each one, getting it scripted, and getting it loaded in the template library. It will be available in the template library where you can say, okay, and it'll probably be accompanied by something quite similar to this so that you can look at it and say, yeah, this is what I want. The needs list would indicate this is what we're going to create in your account, et cetera, et cetera. So we're at the sort of beginning of the planning stages of that use case, and I think it has a lot of future there. So good. Shamika says she thinks that would be great. All right, let me turn on the chat here, and we will all just kind of look at any questions that are here together. Chat in the roadmap, when will it be ready? All we can say is Q2, Juan. I mean, it's the best thing we can say. It's not currently in a place where we can say for sure it's in testing or it's in this or that. But we're doing our best to get to everything in Q2. When we have about 7-8 weeks left, 7, 6, depending on how you're counting them. LMS, same answer. Yep, we're doing our best. We keep running and we are trying to parallel big features along with requested features, along with small improvements, and big features are big features, yeah, very big. And then so sometimes we'll run into, during the big features, run into things that we say, oh, well, for this to work in the way that we want it to work, we now need to pull out this scaffolding, or in terms of construction, we need to get this footer out of the ground and put in another footer. And so sometimes there are, when you are moving in the speed that we are, in the breadth that we are, sometimes you find that it's going to be worth it to take a second here and reconfigure some code to work in a different way, so that when you place that LMS or whatever it would be on top of it, that everyone is happy with the result, and we are much more future-proof than we would be otherwise if we just powered through it and threw it up there, right? So these are things that happen, and they're kind of unpredictable and unknowable until you actually are in midstream putting things together. So let me scroll back and see if we have any questions. I saw one, but I want to make sure we get starting at the beginning. So Juan says, can I use template folder to share template folder with more than one user? Currently, you have to assign the template folder to one client, and there's not a way to share that folder with more clients. The only way to share with more clients is to go to Files, Home, and create new file and assign the circle. What I want is to share a file with everyone in the hotel. Okay, it's a circle company. The hotel one is a company, and you have a company circle for it. Is that right? Okay. All right. Let's jump into the platform. I think I know what you're trying to achieve. Okay, we're gonna go to Files here. And in its simplest form, the simplest implementation will be that you create what's called a shared folder. Okay, so you'll create a shared folder, a new share, and you're going to name it. We'll just call it hotel name here. That would be an easy way. And then you're going to find the circle. So here's your circles, your normal circles. You probably have company circles below that. I don't think I have any in this account. So we would just use a circle, and this is now going to be shared with everyone in that circle. Okay? And not only everyone in the circle now, but this is the power of circles. They're dynamic. So it means if you add someone to that circle, they will instantly start seeing this folder in their list of folders. If you remove someone from the folder, they will no longer see that folder in their list of shared folders. And if you share this with a company circle, you are basically creating a shared folder that everyone associated with that company will have access to. I believe that's what you're asking. Or maybe the other alternative that you might be asking about is folder profiles. But I want to be sure. So let me know if that's folder profiles. Okay. I thought you call it folder templates, which is pretty close to what they are. That's essentially. We have to be a little bit careful. And in fact, one video that I really want to make quickly is let's define the nomenclature of Suite Dash. Profiles, templates, what does that all mean? So yeah, they're essentially, you could be the same thing depending on how you think of it. Folder profiles one is a pre-built folder configuration. So I don't have any in this account, but let's just say I want to create one for the hotel. Okay, so I'll create a profile type. Right now we only have one, and we're going to call it hotel configuration. And this is for all new hotels that you add. And then inside this, you're going to see your standard 3 folders that you see with all clients. And then you can decide how do you want to build this structure. You can build folders inside any one of these or all of them. You can even upload files into these places, and the files will be replicated when the folder profile is used. So the way this works, yeah, I see that one. But understand that this what you're looking at here is just a configuration. It's not an actual folder. Okay, so it's basically like it's like something that you would create ahead of time and then apply to each new client as you add them. Okay, so when you say assign to one client, what it does in reality is the only time this can be added or assigned to a client is during the client creation, or it can be done after. But essentially what you'll do is put this in your configuration as each new client is added. So when you say you want to apply it to a circle, I get that, yeah. So let's see. So Juan says you can create new contacts to apply to new clients, but not new companies. It would be useful to apply to new companies. Okay, so I get what you're saying. You want to, in retrospect, right? Maybe you have a company with 10 clients already, and you want to then now create a new folder profile, and then retrospectively apply it via company circle to everyone in that company, and also everyone in the future in that company. That'd be nice. You're right. I don't think we have a way to really do that. Let's go back. Let's go to. Okay, I get you. Oh, that's why I'm in the middle of naming this thing. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go back. So here, if I went to folder profiles now, and I wanted to apply this, I'm just going to rename that. But the application comes in the in intake form or add client form. So what we could do, Juan, is here. What if we implemented a assign option, and that brought up a modal similar to, let's see if I can get to another place where, yes, here. Similar to this, right? So it would say assign folder profile, and then you would have the choices between, you could assign it to just contacts individually or to a circle, or conceivably even staff members and teams, although that probably wouldn't work. It would just be these two. And then that assignment would happen instantly for all the people you designated here. That would allow you to retroactively apply it to a circle, which would be a company circle. And if you did it with a company circle, yeah, the future and The difficulty would be that dynamic part, right? So if you remove someone from a circle, are we going to block them from all these folders that were created? I think we would kind of have to. That's a difficult one. I think there's some logical issues in there that we need to deal with and think through in many different ways before we could do that with confidence, Juan. But good to know. That's good to know that you are looking for that functionality. I guess my best advice now would be, as you're adding new contacts, you would be able to set the folder profile on their way in, and then it would be set. And any ones that were retroactive, you could do those manually. Yeah. So for now, that's the best advice. Okay, let's take a look. We just have the chat up good. Okay. All right, Alessandro, I would like to create restricted groups in which there are clients, supplier, and us in the company. In this group, I would like to send reminders and eventually manage some conversation. Is it possible to do it with a circle? Not really, Alessandro. So what you're referring to is what I call the collaborator role, I guess, depending on how you want to set things up. Circles are for internal contacts. I'm sorry. Circles are for externals only, which would consist of prospects and clients. Let's see if Noel has answered. Circles can only be for yes, thank you. Further, SD is a 2-level system. Nice job, Noel. I mean, really, I think it's time for you to start doing the. Who votes for Noel to do the webinars? She can just talk, and I can take over for her and type all the answers in. No. Okay. All right. Noel answered correctly, though. That is the exact correct answer. Circles for contacts only. So let's go to the roadmap and look at our ever popular collaborator role. So collaborator role gets brought up every once in a while in situations like this. And what it basically does here, the intention of this is not built yet, Alessandro. It's something that when we hear the use cases like you are talking about, this means a third-party collaborator who's not a client, but it's also not a member of your company. Am I describing that correctly? So what this will enable, as it's planned, is a 3-sided structure where you would be able to create a new collaborator and grant that user visibility to see a particular client or client's profile or multiple clients. And then that collaborator will be able to access that client's information, assess them, and possibly communicate with them in a way like you're describing. So this is what we are thinking of in this sense of a third-party collaborator. Is that similar to what you are thinking about? Well, yeah, we called it collaborator, Alessandro. Alessandro says, do you mean the supplier can be a third-party collaborator? Yes, the collaborator is a generic term for the different we've had people call them vendors or suppliers or freelancers that they're trying to create what's called a facilitator platform, I think is what you're looking for. Something where you can you're the company that brings together a client and then the service provider, which in your case you're calling a supplier. And you need to put those two people in the same space and see if they work well together. Then the supplier is going to charge the client some amount of money, and you're going to take 15% of it, or something like that. You're going to charge them and then pay the supplier some amount of money. Is this one? Am I guessing this close? Okay, Marianne, we'll get to that. Okay, let's go back, and I'll get to all the questions. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Let's just suppose. So, Alessandro, no. To continue this conversation, there's no way for us to The only way would be, Alessandra, for you to add these suppliers in as something like a teammate role, which is a lower level permissions role on the internal side. And it's designed to be people inside your company, but you could use it if you were careful and you tested all the scenarios. It's conceivable that you could use it to bring your suppliers in that way. And then if you use projects to control the visibility to your clients, you could use projects as the controlling mechanism, and that way you could bring the teammates in and the clients in to the same space, which is a project, right? And it's sort of controlled by permissions, and possibly could use client talk or team talk or some mechanism there. So there is no black and white use case here as far as what I'm explaining to you. It would be an experiment on your side to see if it would work for your use case, which of course I can't know in detail. Okay, maybe that'll help you. All right, Second Nature says, I'm told to ask, can you show it? Who's telling you what to do in Second Nature? You're the man. Second Nature says, I'm told to ask, can you show us how to transfer the clients from the old portal to this portal? Also, can we import bulk contacts? Yeah, so Second Nature, the way you would do that, I mean, the way that we have that is workable at the moment is you would go to the old contacts view and you would simply export here. Click export. You're going to export that to a CSV. And then, yes, you can use import contacts on your other account and make sure that you're doing it. You want to be careful anytime you're doing an import operation, because you can mistakenly make a mistake, as always happens with mistakes, and suddenly you have a kind of a big mess to clean up. And it's not a huge mess in the sense that it can't be cleaned with bulk delete and things like that. But it depends on how you do your import, because you can do things like import custom fields and a whole lot of data, and we don't have a mechanism to reset an account or undo an import. So you want to do some small tests with just a couple of rows until you get things working exactly. You have a couple of very predictable and successful imports, and then you'll bring the whole data. So that's how you can do it. Export from here, import from here. Okay. In the other account, of course. All right. Speed Equity says Noel is awesome. I think that's true. All right. Alessandro for that one. Okay. Marion, let's handle this one. He or she says, how can customer fields and dynamic data be populated in workspaces? My clients are freelancers and I want to ask them questions via forms and then have the data populate in a workspace formatted in a template for them to edit, revise, and review. Well, Marion, it cannot. That's not possible to populate. It's not currently possible to populate those data placeholders in workspaces. However, I think I understand what you're trying to accomplish, and really that can be done by update forms. Okay. So what is an update form? An update form, let me get there, will add or update existing information to a contact, okay? But what if, so if you load a new contact, let's go here, I'm on the client side. Let me look. If it's here. Try to get to a place where I know for sure this is going to work. Data will be there. Okay, well, here's one, actually. All right. So this is, of course, John Wick, who also we know as Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which my kids are loving these days. I don't know how it's still funny after all these years, but they like it. Anyway, in an onboarding step, there was a flow that this client went through, and they landed here on the start page. And now here on the start page is an update form, okay? The data from the database for this particular client, will be shown here in the update form, at which time they can say, yes, these are all correct, or they can make some changes and make changes in the form and then submit that update form, and that updates the data in the database. Okay, and every time they come here to, every time they're exposed to that form again, it will be, they will see the most updated data in the database. You can also use custom fields, so see the changes here now that I'm back here. You can also designate that custom fields are available. So this would be the way that I would do it, the way that would solve what you're trying to do, right? I would create a portal page that would have update forms, an update form, which you can even segment and put HTML in between, so you could build a pretty strong presentation page here. And then they would just come to this page, see the current data that is in the database, and update it as needed, which I think is what you said. You want to have data populate and have that so that they can edit, revise, and review. And you can do that with, these are called paragraph custom fields, so they're big chunks of data, or small chunks of data, or checkboxes, or radio buttons, or however you'd like. Yeah. All right, let me see where your response might be here. Does that make sense, Marion? Workspaces is something that we're trying to evolve into a more useful construction. At the moment, it's really fairly static. So I would say in the future, what you can expect is more of a collaboration, real-time collaboration reality there. But at the moment, I'm not sure that you could expect that it would happen in the way that you're referring to. Okay. Okay, yes. How do I have it come in a paragraph after submitted also? Come in a paragraph. Well, you can redirect from this portal page to another portal page. And on the second portal page, you won't place a form. You'll use the dynamic data placeholders, right? So in the same way that, let's see if I've done something. Let me show this portal page. Okay, so here's a portal page where that's all done. This is provided by it's the update form, Marion. Yep, the update form. Let me recommend to you let's make sure I'm on the right page here. Let me recommend to you that this video this is the most recent video released in on YouTube. And this one will talk about intake forms, update forms, embedding update forms on portal pages. All of this you will learn about during this video, and it's a fairly fast walkthrough, and I think you'll pull a lot of concepts away. And then when you let me show you this. What you can do is redirect after the submission of an update form to another portal page. And then here's a portal page, right, with these dynamic. So let's say you collect this information on the first portal page using that update form. Then you redirect them to the portal page where you're displaying that information, and it will look like this. And you can load the preview, and now you can even load which client you want to preview, and the preview will return the data associated with that client, right? So it's going to load the information from the client here, and then you can switch clients. Here it comes, yeah. So here it is. See? So now I'm loaded. What will this look like when Josie Green lands here? Or as opposed to what will it look like when Robert Martinez lands here? Well, the data is different because it's a different client. So if you ran a funnel where you run them into an update form on a portal page, they complete that form. Then on this completion of that form, you configure a redirect to the second portal page where then you display all the information. Then you have what you need. In fact, I have almost a perfect example of this. Let me get there. I'm going to take the time to find it now. Let's see. I hope. I haven't used it in a while, so that's the problem. Yeah. So Good, I found it. Okay, so here's a good example, right? So here's like a dashboard. This is where you would display the information. All this is custom fields, custom fields, custom fields. So let's just say that this client says, no, I'm not, my retirement target is not 62. You can say, click changes. Now look at the bottom left of my screen. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just linking with this button to another portal page on which I have embedded an update form. And I've chosen specifically the fields on that update form, you know, so it doesn't have to be every field, but I've chosen just these 5 to allow them to update. Okay? And then, so now this client can say, no, my retirement target is 77. I'm going to work until I'm 77. We'll click update, and then you can redirect that right back to the dashboard, or whatever, it says dashboard, but whatever page. Yeah, I changed the dashboard for this client. That's why that happened. Let's go to here. Let's go back to that page, and you'll see that the data is updated. Yes. And they can go back. Yeah. Good. Perfect. See? And how it's updated here? Exactly. O'Marion's got it right now. So you can create these dashboards, and you can even give them the ability to edit this data if that's what you want. You don't have to, but you can. And they can literally edit their own information. Let's say, you know, out of the 20 custom fields that you have, you only want to allow them to edit just a few, like I've done here. These are the ones you can edit. The other ones you can't edit. But here, you can make these edits, and then you can redirect right back to that same page, and you can create a really nice interface in that way. Also, to complete this thought, and then I'll move on, I want to make sure it's clear that when you're creating custom fields, or when you sometimes you create them on the fly in the forms and you don't have all these options, but if you use your flyout menu and go to custom fields, you'll have all the options that are here. And let's just say I want to edit this custom field. See how you can add this, make this available in their profile page? So if I was to do that here, then when the client, if I was going to save, then the client could go into their profile. And so this makes it a little more straightforward. And that field will be listed in these other fields, other info right here. So in this way, you can even make it as part of the profile, so it's a very nice, easy thing for them to answer or edit or see the value and change. So that's a sort of a less complicated way to set it up. But it might work, not work in your use case, but yes, it can work. Okay, let's go. I saw a couple questions back here. Let's hit those. No, you almost got missed because I thought you were Noel, and you thought you were direct messaging me. But let's get to your question. Since we deal with a lot of personal identifiable information, do you have any security and compliance documentation to ensure the data is securely stored? So no, on our website we have a web page that it's accessible in the footer menu that will describe the security protocols, and that's what we publish to the public, and that's the extent of it. We don't go much further than that because the more information that's provided as far as specifics is providing more information for the bad guys, to put it in a plain way. Yeah. Okay, Alessandro, yes, no, yes. Does it? No, on our website you'll see that we comply. We're a HIPAA compliant platform. SEC, FINRA, NIST. We don't claim those. We do have HIPAA compliance as a compliance framework that we adhere to. Okay. Oh, that's second nature. I'm the assistant. Okay, got it. I think you're ready to be ready. You're ready for an assistant. Good job, second nature. Okay, so, and Juan says, can you include in a page a list with updates of the new files or folders added in a company? Not yet, Juan. So not yet is the answer. As we continue to build out the block builder, this content block editor, we will be creating what generically is called a file block, and that you will be able to take that block and configure. Let me just jump into a place where I can sort of demonstrate a little bit. So here in the content block editor, there will be a new block here called a file block. And in that block, you'll be able to configure which folder or folders it will be watching. Okay. And then it will output a folder tree, or basically all the files in a way that is very user friendly and easy to understand on the client side. So the advantage of that, well, that will be one of the options. The other option will be that you can just literally upload files there and provide them in a static way. The first thing that I described is more dynamic, which is always the way we're thinking. So if you created a folder that was housing some set of files that you needed to update often, and maybe you created 5 or 6 different dashboards for different circles in your company's use case, then you would connect that file block to that folder dynamically, and it would just always show what is in that folder. So let's say it's like a monthly newsletter or something that you're updating quarterly. Then you will be able to just update in one place, and that will be the files that will be visible to those clients as they go forward. But even more powerful than that, let's get back to the folder profile. I think I left that, but let's go there. Let's look at folder profiles. Even more powerful and dynamic than that will be that there will be an option in that envisioned in that file block that you'll be able to designate a folder profile, specific folder in a folder profile. Let me do it from here because I think it will make more sense. So let's think of it like this. So if I'm going to show tax documentation to, here are your returns. Okay, good. This is perfect. So if that in that file block, if I can make a connection to this path in a folder profile, right? And that would be dynamic based on the client. Then if client A logs in and I have placed their client, now this, remember, this is just a folder profile, but this will be zipped out in every single client to which I've applied this profile. So that could include client A and client B. But for client A, I'm going to put in his tax returns, and client B, I'm going to put in her tax returns, right? But I can create, for both those clients, I could create the same dashboard with the file block, and when client A arrives there and they look in the file, they see the file's return, it will be their tax returns, and client B, it will be her tax returns. So this is a way that if you did that, then you would just, when you finish with the returns, you would simply go to the files, navigate to the client files, to the specific client, and inside their shared folder here, and inside whatever, inside that folder that I just showed you for tax returns, and upload here their tax returns. And then when they logged into that generic dashboard, of course we know who's logged in, and we will go and from this specific place pull those tax returns and display to that particular client. So you can build really complex experiences that are generic but adapt to the particular user. Okay. Elevation says 5 years in the future, Sweet Dash is going to be the gold standard for CRM. That's great, Elevation. I think so. I think we'll at least be. I think what's different about us is that we are community driven for one thing, and we're also taking the time to build out in a white label fashion as a primary, and we're integrating all of these tools that are part of our platform in a way that will be able to provide sort of an unmatched experience for your clients and eventually for your staff. So in an HR kind of way, imagine onboarding a new staff member in a way that everything is automated. It's all your first day. Well, here's a course. You need to start with the first day course, and now you have a dashboard that shows your progress, and step by step you design an onboarding for a particular person who's in a particular team, which is the equivalent of circles on the staff side. So imagine standardizing that in a way that when you start a new person, you just add them to a team, start them down a path, and everything becomes automated and step by step. Does it make sense to set up an LMS as a project? I think Speed Equity, the best way to set up some kind of education experience will be with portal pages at the moment. So in the way that I have here, for example, created these buttons, and these buttons can be linked to other portal pages. And right now it's not, but I could say navigate to portal page, and I could select a portal page from the list. You could easily create multiple pages that link to each other either here, or you could even do it in the menu based on circle affiliation, and you can essentially build page after page with the information, link them to each other. You could have buttons at the bottom that say next, next, next. Now that's all manual, that's all hard-coded, as we say. But in your early days, you could get that done. You could create a course, get it done, it would work, it would be locked down. You could create even paid access to it using paid portal access. The upside of that is you would have the content created, right? Which I think a lot of times people will say, well, I can't create my course because I don't have the right tool. But at this point, if you created all the content in the content block editor, which is on your portal page, and it will also be the content creation mechanism that we'll use in LMS, then all you would need to do is just copy the code here, or just transfer this content over to the LMS, the course or the lesson, and you are in business. Then you just have to wire it up and adapt your processes a bit, and then you're off and running. But for sure, I don't think projects is the right construction. I think portal pages and use circles to assign your portal page access. So if you have a course A or course B, you just create a circle for it, and only the people that you've added into course A or course B will see the portal page. Or if you use the menu, the menu item will only show to people who have access to the page. So it'll be very well protected in that sense. Okay, Omarion says, yes, how do I have it come in a paragraph? Okay, yeah, we talked about that. Please share these pages, portals in the community. I haven't seen them. So this one, for example, one is a template in the template library, which you can access from here. So they won't be in the community. We'll do our best to add anything that we're showing or any kind of basic construction into the template library so that you are able to use that as a starting point, right? Elevation asks, are there any plans to integrate SweetDash with WooCommerce? No, not at the moment, Elevation. You can use Zapier for that. So you would be able to, for example, tell a Zapier zap when WooCommerce checks out with product A in the cart, then you perform these actions as SweetDash. So we've had many clients and customers, configure that. Okay. So custom fields show up in forms. Yes, I have a lot to create. Does it make sense to add them on to create the forms? For me, Marion, I think it's easier just to create them as you're creating the forms. We have it set up so you can do it on the fly. Okay, so let's say we're going to create an intake form. All you have to do is go here to create custom field, and now you can create everything you need right here on the fly. Select the type. If you have check boxes or multiple choice, you can define all those here. And in the description, if you just read here, here's where you're going to basically create the question or the statement, the prompt. Here is where you're going to use what we would call a short name or a friendly name that you can recognize, but it just at a glance by 2 or 3 or 4 words. And then you'll see that those are this question or statement or prompt is what the client will see, and then the data will be added into the database as a custom field. And then if you need to edit those custom fields or manage them later, you'll do that from here. Okay. Noel, correct? Okay, cool. Yesterday I created a project no, Shamika, how are you doing, Shamika? Yesterday I created a project profile, template, tasks, and phases. How do I assign it to a circle? I do not see any projects when I impersonate my test client. So project profile and template, task, and phase. Okay. All right, I have it in my head. So a project profile, Shamika, is not yet a project in the same way that an invoice profile or a recurring profile or an accumulating profile are not yet a project. Maybe the best way to define it is it's a pre-project. Okay, it's ready to become a project, but you just need to tell it what you would like to do. Who's a part of this project, okay? Or who's the client, essentially. So when you create a project profile, that's why we have these dynamic naming placeholders in the name, because the idea is that you're going to use this profile and replicate it over and over and over again. And all you're going to need to tell it is, well, what's the client's name? Who's the client? Which client am I going to create this project for? So you'll see that as you create a new project, if you go and start here with new project, it will ask you if you want to use a project profile. No, actually, no, it'll ask for a template. But if you are using an automation, you can apply a project profile. So the way to do that to a circle, I mean, you realize, Shamika, and I think you do, but I'll just ask, you realize that if you applied a project profile to a circle, it would, and there was 10 people, you would have 10 projects, 10 individual projects. Because we only have, there's one client per project, and then when there is such a thing as a secondary clients in projects, but in general, a project has one client. So we don't have a way to assign a circle to a project in that way. It's just kind of doesn't match up with the logic as we think about it. I think what you're trying to do is have a organized experience for more than one client. I'm just trying to think on the fly here for you. I know we had talked about at some point the ability to let's go into this project and just look. We have secondary clients, and I want to show that, and that's part of the reason I'm coming here. So here's secondary clients. Okay, so let's just say that you're working with a primary client. This will be the person who receives the primary communication and notifications about this project, because we need that point person, right? But then you have secondary clients who, in most cases, would be the team at the same company that's working with this client. They're supporting, or they're all part of a team. You can add secondary clients, which will then get access to the project and have the ability. You can assign them tasks. You can do things like that. We did have the idea, and I think it's a valid one, is to have the ability to complete the secondary client's requirement also with a circle, or with a company circle, for example, right? Which the company circle makes the most sense logically, is that you would say, oh, well, I want everybody in the company to have access to this project. And then you would just add the circle, and that would be it. So answer is, I don't think we're on the same page at the moment to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, but maybe some clarifying statements or questions from you in the chat, and then I will do my best to get there, okay? Okay. Good. Noel is answering on Marion. That's good. And Juan says, is it possible to include images as custom fields? I see date, drop down URL, but not images. The file block would be an awesome feature. Yeah, that's one of the big ones that I'm really excited to see, is that file block. So Juan, we do have some some image custom field capability. It doesn't make sense everywhere, but there are a few places that it does make a lot of sense, and that is, I'll just show one right now. In contacts, you are able to set some placeholders as some image placeholders, we call them, for a contact. Okay, so down here, you'll see that you can set a logo landscape. So let's just say for this particular client, you want to put their logo in as this image placeholder, dynamic image placeholder, or a square logo. This proportion is meant to fit other places. A header image, and we tell you the dimensions here. Now, what's this used for? Well, you can use it in a place like this. Okay, so remember when I did this preview and I switched from Robert Martinez to another client, that the profile picture image changed as well. Remember, and we had the other client here. So what we're using here is a dynamic image placeholder. Okay, so let's go into the image block and you'll see what I mean here. So you can upload the image. Sure, we'll let you upload some image from your desktop, and but in this case, it'll show the same image to every single person. Or you can use a CRM contact custom image, and you can choose from the avatar, which is the one that we load, of course, typically. I mean, the avatar is the one we always have. That's just the avatar that you can add, or these image placeholders here. So you could definitely do something like display to each client their logo, right, on a dashboard. So when they logged in and they go to some dashboard that's assigned to a circle that they're a part of, and you're designing it in a generic way for many different clients, but to change dynamically depending on who's logged in, you can use this to display each client their own logo or their own picture or some custom header image that you want to design for them uniquely. And that's done here with the image block. So here's a good example of these blocks that are not just dumb blocks for what, I mean, we call them smartphones and dumb phones. I don't mean to say it in a crass way, but this is sort of the dumb way, right? Let's upload an image, and it will always be this image no matter what. It's kind of boring, and that's what it does. So let's call it the boring way. That's a little bit more, a little less crass, right? So the boring way or the fun way, right? The Ferrari way, right? Jalopy, Ferrari. That's the difference, right? So this is really cool. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this. The other way is kind of boring. All right. So there's your image custom field. And additionally, just to point out, there are custom fields for images, and we can store those images. When you add a custom field, you'll see image as a use file upload. So we can store those in the profile, for example, but we don't have a lot of functionality around returning those on a portal page, for example, because it's difficult. There's no way for us to really know what file format that is, what its use case is. Could be a PDF, could be a PSD, who knows what it is. So it's a way that you can, maybe you work in AutoCAD files and you just need to put that AutoCAD file on file, but of course there's no way for us to display that in a browser. So that's just some of the logic around that. Okay. What's the use case for workspaces? Let me try to get back to that, and I will go for that. Speed Equity says that's exactly what I need. Is there a template for that yet? I'm gonna get. I'm sorry, I didn't know when you typed this Speed Equity, but I think maybe you were talking about when we were doing the portal page where we were changing from one to another. I hope so. Anyway, either way, great. Yeah, Marion, I'll come back to that, and I'll make sure it's clear. We're a little bit over time now, but I'll try to get back to it. All right. Webhooks API, that can start this year. It's not something we're rushing into at the moment, Marion, but yes, for now, Zapier is your best bet in that direction. Do you have an affiliate program? Yes, we do, Hilton. So It's currently described as a partner program here. So if you click here and under partners and partner program, you can sign up here. And it's a simple sign up. There's really nothing there's no test. There's no wall there. The reseller program, are you asking about? Agency partner program is a program that you will need to be validated. You will need to pass a test. You need to be assessed, right? But these are the agencies we are displaying to our customers who would prefer to have some help to set up their SweetDash account. And then you will negotiate and just, we're completely unaffiliated with these vendors other than they have demonstrated proficiency and they're willing and ready to help you set your accounts up. Okay. And then the reseller program is essentially you as a reseller, the best use case that is out there is an agency, right? A digital agency. So if I had a digital agency and I was creating a website for someone, I might also say to them, well, not only can I create a website for you, but I can also provide you with a fully white labeled set of business tools that you'll be able to send your clients invoices, get them on subscriptions, create client portals. You'll be able to email marketing, all the things that SweetDash provides. You say, I can set that up for you. It'll only be, I don't know, $149 a month. Additional. Fully white labeled, everything good. Well, you as the agency, you have access to all the logos, all the colors. You're doing that anyway, right? It's easy for you to set up. And once you set up SweetDash once, I mean, it's just a breeze after that. So as a reseller, we enable in your account what's called a reseller dashboard, which gives you a set of tools that makes this thing even easier. You pay a wholesale amount to us, and that comes out of your pocket, and then you charge your customers any amount of money you would like. You mark it up. If you can get $2,000 a month, good for you. Yeah, we don't really need to know or want to know. We only get the wholesale price, just like anything, right? We're wholesaling accounts to you. You're turning them around. You're solving problems with that person. And the good part about that, really, honestly, is that not only you create that website, but then you create that association with those tools, with their client portal. And what we find and hear from our resellers is that that leads to more and more and more work as they want to pay you an hourly to help them continue to build out their portal and make it better and better. And so you're working then almost as an agency for them on an hourly. You're getting a little markup, a little monthly revenue, and it works really well that way. Okay, hope that helps. Thank you. Be cool if we could request images from users, restrict the image by pixel size and DPI. Yeah, I can see that elevation. Think we'll consider that. Do we have the ability to see log into these demo accounts? Marion, you don't. No, these are just for. Although there are some thoughts about just once these funnels, as we've created it here, for example, exist. There's really no reason why you wouldn't be able to just experience it as a client would experience it by working through the funnel, but you wouldn't have access to the admin side. So occasionally we have customers or visitors that somehow find these links, and we see them working in or see them in the accounts. But yeah, there's no harm there. SAS for SD, here we come. Yay. Create stickiness. Yeah, kind of Hilton. I mean, it's really the idea is, well, what we really want to, of course, we want what we call a retail customer who finds us and they want to set everything up. That's really strong for sure. But what might be stronger, and I see the future of website designers who are out there, quote unquote, that's kind of an older moniker and an older technology. So it still exists. I mean, there still are people out there looking for website design, and they're willing to pay for it. But what they're really, I think, in the future, now and in the future, going to be more and more likely to pay for is a consultant, a technology consultant, right? Can you, okay, you can get a website working for me, but okay, but what about these? I want email marketing to work, and I want these other things to work. And this, I see all this technology out there and all these softwares, but I'm running my business. I don't have time to set all this up. But what if you were the person who came to them with a complete plan, right? You said, oh, well, I can help you with your website. It'll have intake forms. It'll go right into a CRM. Everything will be, everything will be adapted to your business. You and I are going to sit down and we're going to really talk about your business. I'm going to really understand your business. And after we reach this understanding, I'll come back to you with a proposal, with a plan. And there's going to be a monthly fee, which means, you can call me anytime, email me, get advice. I'm going to pick up the phone or I'm going to return your email. I really think that's a real strong career in the future, and a kind of a self-directed side. It could be way more than a side hustle. So once you get, say, 6 or 7, 8, 10 businesses that are legitimate businesses that can handle the monthly payment, and they're happy to do it as long as you continue to bring them value. You're not just going to get that monthly payment. You're going to get every single time they have a technology question or they have a need, they're going to come to you because you sat down at that table with them. You sketched out that flow chart. You understand their business. Nobody else does, right? They trust you. And anybody else, they'd have to build that trust again. And once you have that built with a busy business owner who's making real money, they will continue to pay you and take your advice and let you build for them. With something like SweetDash, the cool part is, you have an evolving platform that's constantly being directed by suggestions from the community. So you can believe that eventually, if the features are not there that you're looking for right this second, they're not very far away in terms of months, right? We will find and bring to reality the most popular and heavily requested items. That will happen. Sometimes it just takes time. So, but what you have already in existence and real right now, ready to use, is a very, very strong and robust platform that you can accomplish quite a bit and adapt to quite a few business niches. So you, as that technology consultant, Hilton, you can walk in and say, I can solve your problems, right? And then as they describe their problems, you are in the back of your mind, you got the wheels are turning. How can I solve this problem with SweetDash? How can I do that? How can I do that? And then you come back to them with all those solutions. It's white labeled. They never see the word SweetDash. Suddenly, you're their favorite person, right? So this is good. I think there's a really strong market in the future for agencies to take that role, take a all-in-one solution like this, like SweetDash, and really start to fulfill their customers, their clients' needs in a holistic way, instead of, oh, here's a website for $2,000 or whatever it is. Now, please don't bother me. Please don't email me anymore. I'm doing websites for new people now. So you become less of a commodity, right? You're commoditized when you're doing websites because there's many people doing that, and they're at this point, all the website builders, of which one day we will join the club, will undercut you and make it easier. You're gonna strictly a website designer who's strictly designing websites in WordPress, unless they're really good and very or in a big market, they're eventually going to start to starve for business. But a technology consultant, somebody that can solve problems and create automations that business owner will recognize, that's saving me time. That's saving me time and money, and we're making fewer mistakes. We're billing on a regular basis. Sometimes you'd be surprised how many businesses don't even get the invoices out because it's too much work, or they miss it. So I mean, they're leaving invoices unpaid, or not even unpaid, unsent, uncreated. And so that money is just, that's real bottom line revenue that falls out. And when bottom line revenue falls out, that's the most painful kind, because you have all the expenses associated with it, but you're just not getting that bottom line. So yeah, there's a lot of room there. Okay, I think we're a little over time. You're welcome, Hilton. Thank you to everyone for your time today, for your input, feedback. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. We take a lot of value from these webinars. We hear you and are looking for how we can make things better all the time. And I think if you've been around the platform for any period of time, you're seeing that, and you're seeing the steady rolling out of new significant features, smaller improvements, and you'll continue to see that. So thank you for being here. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. I think we're going to close everything down. Thanks again. See you later. Bye.